Testing, testing. Good evening everybody and welcome to Perth Reserve in the northern suburbs for men's NPL WA semi-final action as ECU Joondalup face off with Perth Soccer Club this evening. Live on the Football West YouTube channel and Facebook pages. Tommy Dolman here with you on the call on what is a wet and windy evening. Apologies in advance for any technical difficulties that you may experience, particularly in the opening stages. We're a little bit late to go to air tonight. But hopefully this one should be a really good game as Perth Soccer Club get us underway. Visitors wearing their traditional sky blue jerseys and white shorts. ECU, of course, the home team, wearing their red shirts and their white shorts. But they are playing at Perth Reserve tonight, the home of Sorrento FC, for this semi-final. Of course, the Northern Club had that emotional afternoon on Saturday where they celebrated the league title and winning it for the first time since 1999. As Luke Bodner hoists one forward. Now Hodgson's darting in behind Hurley here and having to get back and put behind was Caldwell. In fact, the last touch was off Hodgson. It's going to be a rather unpredictable night here, you suspect, given the conditions. Sleeting rain across the pitch. And as you saw from that Bodnar ball a moment or so ago, it's going to play havoc for both defences tonight, you suspect, as Bodnar thought about leaving that one. Yagoub Mustafa was giving chase, and it's definitely going to be a night for the workhorses out there, you suspect. Any pressure and any lapse of concentration you'd think may just reap rewards if players are alert enough, as Timmins commits the foul. Mustafa, wide right, trying to step in was Wall, and Mustafa gets the better of him, gets into the box, pulls back, looking for Negic, who'll get the touch now, striking a goal. Jovic deflected and wide. Luka Jovic on the edge of the area, arriving late and driving at goal. It took a nick or two on the way through, and be the first corner of the evening. Referee tonight, by the way, Tom Glavovic. Assisted by Joshua Nixon and Lawson Rimmer on the touchlines. As Jovic goes over to take the corner. Perth try one short. Cataccioni rolls his man well. And it seemed as though the ball had already crossed the line before Cataccioni crossed, and that was exactly what had happened. We touched on before with ECU, they had that wonderful day on Saturday after that 4-0 win against Sorrento. 2 goals from Danny Hodgson, 1 for Tom Howe and 1 also for Andy Higgins as well, long-serving midfielder with the club. Just so good to see those emotional scenes. Plenty of people who have been with the club for a long time enjoying their moment in the sun. I'm sure Kenny Lowe's boys partied hard into the night, but it's a very short turnaround. Wednesday night semi-finals here in the NPL WA. And it's a night where ECU have to be fully focused against a Perth Soccer Club side who we know all about in terms of their track record. Winning the double league and top 4 cup in the 2018 and 2019 seasons over the stretch. And this season, an uncharacteristically slow start by their standards. Winless in their first 4 games, finished 10th after the first phase of the competition before finishing top of the bottom 6 and entering as the lowest ranked finals side for this NPL WA Finals Series. And as I mentioned ago, you couldn't possibly discount them given their experience at this level, but with that said, they have lost the last 2 semi-finals, which is the stage we're at tonight, of course, granted that there isn't a preliminary final in season 2020 given the COVID year, but 2018 they lost on penalties to Perth at Dorrien Gardens before losing 3-1 to Inglewood at Dorrien Gardens last year as well. I suppose the only difference is that they are on the road tonight. It's Cataccioni. Looks up, Mustafa driving into the area. He's been lively early, goes to ground. And I don't think the referee thought much of that, and ECU possibly appealing that Mustafa went to ground a little easy. I think particularly in these early stages with the slippery turf, it may be worthwhile just players having that benefit of the doubt early on. I'm sure that has been noted though nevertheless, and Tom Glavovich will be alert to any fouls or falls as the night progresses. Interesting team news tonight for Perth, who make 3 changes from that 2-all draw with Glory at the weekend. Youngster Aidan Forston, one of the players to make way, as was Paul Zimmerino and last year's Golden Boot winner Michael Domfey. Jackson Morgan, Sassanegic and experienced Gustavo Cataccioni preferred tonight for the Azzurri. As the visitors win a throw over in that back corner. Incidentally, ECU perhaps unsurprisingly unchanged from that 4-0 win at the weekend. Exactly the same substitutes bench as well. So Kenny Lowe opting for continuity. What a marvellous job he has done this season in taking this ECU side from 11th in 2019 all the way up to the peak and a league title win. It's been a funny old season, but given some of the football we have seen ECU play, it's definitely no fluke that they've got to that position and won the league as Colwell's searching ball looked for Mustafa on that right-hand side. Warland tries to clear up the line. Now Cataccioni looks to hold the ball up, show some nice touches. Then a clever backheel for Jovic. Outside of him is Njegic. He's got nobody behind him, and in the end, ECU are able to crowd around him and steal possession back. Warland forward now into the feet of Timmins. Look for the pass to Hodgson. Hodgson left it run for Warland, who kept chasing. And now hooking that one up and away is Ryan Montgomery. Kieran Colwell into touch. Ex-Balcatta player who was it? Perth's Italian rivals with Ramon Falzone. Ever present bar one in season 2020. In particular, he was a prominent figure leading into the finals campaign of 2019 when they did go on to win the double and, of course, have success in the first round of the NPL finals in Victoria. ECU now get their first corner of the evening. Still, this rain is driving down. Corner will be taken deep on it from Timmins, looking for Cassidy. It may yet break the way of Warland, who just had to wait, and that allowed Mustafa to step in and contribute in the challenge. And now Mustafa is racing away, and in fact it was Brooks who was there before. 2 ponytails. Easy to get confused from up here when conditions are a bit darker and the rain makes things a little bit harder to see. Negic. Wins the header here, Sasa Negic, and running in on goal, squaring for Cataccioni. Perth score early here at Percy Doyle Reserve. The Azzurri do what they do at this time of season. And it's their experienced Brazilian who gives them the lead. ECU 0, Perth Soccer Club 1. So ECU 0, Perth Soccer Club 1. Gustavo Cataccioni with the opening goal. Back in the team this week after missing the last league game of the season against the Glory. A difficult season, Cataccioni. He's been in and out of the team. Dealt with an injury or two along the way and has been largely managed by Ramon Falzone throughout the campaign. Although for all those frustrations, he did score that spectacular overhead kick against Bayswater, you may remember. A wonderful goal. A real contender for the NPL WA men's goal of the season. Right, what have ECU Joondalup got in the locker here? Can they find a quick response? How? Brooks. Higgins, and now Riak trying to switch the play, but that one's short for his teammate. And now Yagub Mustafa will go herring down this right-hand side. Still going, Mustafa. Pass was looking for Jovic, and in the end, Bodner was back there and scrambling away. A penetrating run from Yagub Mustafa. Perth showing how dangerous they are on the counter-attack in these early stages, and now ECU are looking to try and strike at the other end in similar fashion as Timmins works it wide for Brooks. Driving into the penalty area, Ethan Brooks. We saw him do that for Danny Hodgson's goal, which made it 3-0 at the weekend, and coming across there and dealing with that one was Jordan DeLeo. Of course, the winner of this game will play the winner of tonight's other semi-final down at Dalmatinak Park. Coburn City versus Floreat Athena. Well, that game, of course, was also full of drama at the weekend. Coburn City, of course, defeating Floreat by 2-1 at ED Leiter Stadium, which was the result that ECU needed to win the title. Comeback that came very late in the piece as well, with a late strike from Jesse Lazaro. Hodgson managed to keep that one alive, but only temporarily. Cataccioni. Riak manages to get that one back to his keeper, Johnny Perkins. Kept his 5th clean sheet of the season at the weekend, did Johnny Perkins, Irish shot stopper. 4th season with the club. And the one who lifted that trophy on Saturday afternoon, just gone. Colwell up the line. Mustafa turning for Gustavo Cataccioni, who's peeled wide for the moment into Negic. Now Nick McDonald will get up in support, but that Toss is high and chipped, and easy enough for Perkins to watch wide. Higgins. Now Brooks. Higgins again. Howe. Tom Howe, who scored that lovely second goal on Saturday. Beat a man and thrashed it into the bottom corner. Half cleared away by Nagic, and in the end just left the boot out there, and that conceded the foul to ECU, who get to really just respond to that early strike from Perth. Perhaps they'll have an opportunity to do so now. Routine from ECU here, always going to be difficult in these conditions, as Hodgson was able to help that one around the corner. Now Nagic will look wide for Mustafa, who's going to be such an outlet tonight, you feel, with that driving pace. Plays like that in a game like this are always important because they're often so direct, they carry the ball so well. On a tough night, you can get the ball from A to B very quickly. Forward by Montgomery. Header from Cassidy. Warland and Mustafa battle for the ball in the corner. It'll break now to Howe. And now Bodner, who actually started the season with the Missouri, having arrived from the Glory. Did join up with ECU post-COVID though, and has been a very good contributor for them in season 2020, as Higgins looked to have allowed Jovic to step in, but very clever player is Andy Higgins. As you said before, very long serving player with the club. Seen it all, the good times and the more difficult on the pitch. Somewhat symbolic therefore that he did score the opening goal, and a goal which helped ECU. It's that title sealing result on the weekend as Warland clips in. Awkward bounce off the Percy Doyle pitch for Timmins, and once again Mustafa is busy and lively and looking like a key player out there tonight. Higgins, a little touch for Hodgson, who goes to ground, no foul. And now Bojan Radanovic will step out of defence. He has Sasnjegic. Luka Bodner standing him up, two former Perth Glory youth team teammates there. Nagic playing on this left-hand side tonight, it seems. Normally a central midfielder. Tough tackling and combative. Good passer as well, mind. Actually played just his first game of the second phase against the Glory at the weekend, did Sasnjegic, after missing the first four of the second phase. Here he is now, looking inside. No teammate there, and that allows Riak to look up, and in the end ECU opt for a little bit of patience. One thing that was striking about Kenny Lowe's team at the weekend, they kept possession really well. attacks with pace when the space has opened up. And that said, those little crisp balls a lot harder to play on a night like this, and there's an example of it as Bodner's pass is a little heavy. Nathan Brooks didn't stand much chance of getting on the end of that one. You can still see the rain coming down really hard here. Hasn't let up at all since the first whistle. Bodner. Forward. Radanovic. That's a nice ball out for Mustafa, who's one-on-one with Cassidy here, and experienced defender Shane Cassidy does really well there. He would look to be falling back a little bit. Got the foot in there. Clean challenge. Really good defending from the former Sterling defender who was teammates with Johnny Perkins over at the Lions. Higgins, Timmins. Flying in there was Mustafa, and he wins it cleanly as well. So Tom Glavovich letting the game flow here, making for a decent enough spectacle despite the conditions. Now Morgan just lost his footing as he tried to control the ball. Mustafa didn't know, and now he comes away through midfield, but pass let him down on that occasion. Hodgson made his run, but went a little bit early. Of course, ECU becoming the third team in the NPL WA era to win a league title. Aside from Bayswater City and Perth Soccer Club. Their last appearance in a final was a rather heartbreaking one, though. They played against Inglewood United in a preliminary final back in 2016. Lost 6-5 on penalties that night after a 1-1 draw at full time. They haven't been back to the semi-final since. I'll be hoping things work out a little better for them tonight, but trailing at the moment by a 1-0. Goal provided by Gustavo Cataccioni early on. Live tonight from Percy-Doyle Reserve on the Football West YouTube channel and Facebook pages. Tommy Dolman on the call for you tonight. Coburn and Floreat in semi-final number 2 down at Dalmatinach Park. We won't bring you any spoilers of that one, just in case you wanted to tune into that one after tonight's game or in the morning. One thing's for sure is the winner of that game will play the winner of this game here, as Higgins looks to get onto that left foot, instead lays off for Timmins. Now Riak will switch the play out wide, and that's a good releasing ball to put Brooks into some pace. Cross in, and just slightly miscued there from, I think it was Higgins who was arriving on the edge of the 6-yard box there. It was. Couldn't quite let that one roll across him and onto that preferred left foot. Maybe didn't realise he had as much time as he did. Warland. Hodgson. Riak. Little pass through for Timmins. This is what ECU are so good at, those little meticulous passes on the edge of the area and that patience as Warland tries to dig out a cross. Hodgson arrives, try to keep it alive. And doing well to keep that in play, it seemed, as Tom Gavovich points for the throw. Should add that it is a great night here at Perth Reserve in terms of the crowd. Great numbers here for the under-20s game a little earlier on, as Colwell slices that one behind for a corner. Good crowd still here. Probably not as many as you'd see pitch side as normal here, but understandably so given the conditions. Most of them are enjoying the very good facilities here up in the northern suburbs as Timmins' ball in, aimed towards that penalty spot. Cataccioni was back there defending and keeping that one in play. Sasinegic, I think. Domfey pickpocketed by Howe. Hodgson tries the inventive flick, then tries to turn away from Radinovic, who slid in. Higgins tries his luck from range, and Andy Higgins finds the back of the net. The Joondalup juggernaut is rolling again. 2-2 from Higgins. And a screamer at that. ECU 1, Perth 1. ECU 1, Perth 1. ECU Joondalup keeping their run of scoring in every game in season 2020 alive. And that was a quite spectacular equaliser there from Andy Higgins. But Perth are back on the front foot and looking for a quick reply as Cataccioni tries to weave his way through. Slid past 2 or 3 tackles, and in the end it was a retreating Riak, I think, who managed to dig out the clearance, and then Jovic was a little over eager and trying to win the ball back for Perth. Well, how many times do you hear it on a night like this? Just get the ball on target. And I think that's all that Andy Higgins was trying to do, but in the end it was a perfectly weighted and executed curling shot, which Montgomery lost completely, it seemed, and had little chance of keeping out. Heavy touch from Cassidy, nearly allowed Mustafa to step in. And Warland's unable to bring the skipping ball under control. ECU, of course, a little like Perth, started the season slowly, and it seemed as though a 1-1 draw with Bayswater was the real turning point, because Kenny Lowe's side went on a run of 5 straight wins after that, which really launched their season. Finished strongly as well, winning their final 2 games against Coburn and Sorrento. A superb second half turnaround. Perth, meanwhile, 3 wins from 5 in phase 2. Could only draw with the Glory at the weekend, but they were already in a pretty good position prior to that game at Hartfield Park, home of Forestfield, where the Glory are playing this season. Silla looks up, tries to pick out Mustafa. Last touch there off Riak, despite the midfielder's protestations. Radanovic. DeLeo. Ball just slips under the foot of Jordan DeLeo. ECU will try and switch the play once more with that crisp passing we've seen glimpses of tonight. Bodner will carry forward. Howe. Wider is Brooks. He's not really got anything down the line, so has to go on his own. Skins DeLeo pretty easily. DeLeo is no slouch when it comes to pace. Brooks tries to link up with Timmins, and ECU will retain the ball for the moment. That's a dangerous switch from Higgins, and Silla looks as though he controlled that with his hand. He did, and that must have been right on the edge of the area. Perilously close, in fact, and it will be a free kick. Basically as close to that 18-yard line as you can get, really. Angle that does suit a right footer. And Hodgson and Higgins are both interested in this one. Hodgson would be the favourite, but I've already seen what Higgins can do with that left peg already. 5 in the Perth wall. Hodgson steps up over the wall and into the side netting. He ran away, possibly thinking that was creeping in the end that emotion was more so anguish that he just put that wide of the post. What a season he's had, the Englishman. 17 goals in season 2020. The informed player of the division, of the second phase of the competition when it matters most. Eight goals in 5 games in the second phase. 10 goals in his last 6 overall. Very impressive return. Now Silla going on an adventure forward. Riak was standing tall in the holding midfield position. A really good screening midfielder is Sammy Riak. 23 appearances for Inglewood United's team last season. All energy and very physical player. Good footballer as well, we should add. South Sudan international. Bodner looks up. Brooks is arriving to support down the right, and he's skinned DeLeo for pace again. Pullback's a dangerous one. Hodgson was lurking. McDonald fluffed his clearance somewhat. Brooks is still there. Not sure whether he stayed onside. I don't think he did, based on the winger's reaction. ECU 1, Perth Soccer Club 1. Andy Higgins cancelling out Scavo Cataccione's early goal. Montgomery's goal kick flies out into touch. Ramon foul zone just steps out of his dugout and gives his players a couple of directions. Back-to-back Coach of the Year in 2018 and 2019 for his achievements with the Azuri. for that third consecutive top four cup and that fourth in 5 years. As Howe looks up, dangerous looking ball for Hodgson. That's a really good pick out from Howe. Hodgson took a touch and hit it. In the way was Colwell, and Sella just launches that as far as he possibly can. You might just be able to see in your picture that the rain has somewhat subsided. Fingers crossed it stays the way that is until a full-time whistle. Not least for us in the commentary position at Percy Doyle Reserve tonight, a ground that is known as Windy Hill, affectionately among the local footballing community. It's certainly maintaining its reputation with the conditions here. As Brooks will stroll over and look to take the throw in. Perth pretty well organised for the time being. Brooks got the ball back from Timmins, but Timmins straight into an offside position. Two former Perth Glory teammates at youth level anyway linking up. This game in general is littered by plenty of them. A lot of players who were in that Perth Glory side in 2018, which got all the way to the top four cup final. And nearly won the league as well in 2018. A real good core group of youngsters in that side. And here's another one of them, Yagoob Mustafa. Poke back for Silla wasn't quite accurate, and that allowed Hodgson to step in. He was working back really hard there, the centre forward. And looks to be playing wide on the left this evening. Harry Evans playing as a false nine of sorts. Not quite on the last man, but just dropping in, trying to link up play. Letting his forwards, the likes of Hodgson, Brooks and Higgins, get a little more advanced up the pitch as Morgan helps the ball back to Colwell, who scoops in the air. Howe wins the header. Timmins with the green boots. Passes to Riak. Now Bodner, a little bit of space to move into, but not a lot to pass to, and then Colwell's slicing clearance was a little chaotic, but easy enough for Montgomery to gather. Ryan Montgomery, who was a long-term Subiaco shot stopper. John Sterling Lions midway through 2019. Replacement for Francis Sawale, a former skipper who departed to the NPL in Victoria to play for Dandenong. Unfortunately, things haven't quite materialised for Victoria in terms of being able to get players on the pitch. We are very fortunate here to have football going, so obviously we hope that the NPL in Victoria also comes back stronger next season. It'd be good to get them on the pitch as Evans arrives late into the area and nearly gets the toe over Montgomery from the pass of Timmins. Higgins with a little clip pass over the top. No one's going to get on the end of that, and it drifts out harmlessly for a throw. Warland, Higgins, Riak, Timmins, and Wallen both over on that far side. Possession turned over. Kadicioni, Jovic, if he looks up, he's got Negic running through the middle, but Cassidy read that one really well and managed to cut out the pass. And now ECU have got to be alert here because pressing high up the pitch is Jovic, and he pinches it off Riak. And now invites Kadicioni to come forward. Gustavo Kadicioni roaming forward. Negic looks to slip through for Mustafa. Linesman's flag stays down. It's Mustafa's cross. It's deflected and up in the air and caught comfortably by Perkins. Clipped through by Brooks. That's a good ball. Colwell had to get his head to that because Evans was lurking behind, and in the end that was a good piece of defending. Higgins was fouled by Morgan. I just feel that after that first 10-15 minutes or so, when Perth looked really dangerous on the counter-attack, got their goal, ECU have just settled things down in the past 5 or 10 minutes. Obviously equalised since, and are just starting to get on that front foot a little more. Been a pretty good game overall, though. Two evenly matched teams. Certainly in the first part of this game. As the free kick comes in, it's a low, skidding ball. Riak will drive left-footed and doesn't catch that one well at all. Thing I would say about being here at Perth Reserve tonight, I'm not sure if you can hear it on the microphone. Might be a little bit hard given the wind, but a lot of talking on the pitch between the players. Jackson Morgan in particular leading quite loudly, as is Johnny Perkins at the back, as you'd expect from the skipper. A lot of chatter over there, which should obviously suggest that there's a lot of focus and a lot of directing from players. It's always a good thing when you're trying to keep your teammate focused in a big game like this. Top 4 cup final position at stake at the weekend. The grand final at Dorrien Gardens, as crossing into the area looked dangerous from Warland. Clearing at the back post there was Negic. Now Hodgson turns. May want to get onto that right footy. Instead looks out wide. Curling shot comes in and Evans flooded with a header. Brooks goes in. Montgomery tries to claw off the line. Ball did not cross the line. And then the shot comes back in from Riak, and Montgomery scrambling over again. A combination of Higgins and Brooks insist that crossed the line. Must admit, from our commentary position, we had no chance of seeing that. So the linesman was in position A. It was Brooks arriving at the back post from Callum Timmins' cross. The volley was hit first time. Montgomery stuck out a glove. It was a really good initial save. It nearly trickled over the line as a result, but as it stands, we stay at 1-1. The closest either team have come to taking a lead. As Perth now come forward, Mustafa. The combination of not being able to bring that one under control or leaving it for Silla, and in the end the ball goes out for a goal kick. It has to go down as a really good save from Ryan Montgomery there. Different story, of course, if that one doesn't go in. If that one does go in, sorry. In the end, that's a key glove, and just below us here a moment or two ago, Ethan Brooks was perhaps asking for confirmation as to how close that was. Hodgson's flick on. Evans try to win the flick. Hodgson will continue his run, and Radanovic had to slide in. Negic did well to turn away from Howe. He ran into two players, although he did get the ball back. Sasa Negic, and now his pass for Jovic. Clever one. He turned and looked to release Mustafa first time. Perkins was off his line. Little half clearance was good enough for Warland. And now Timmins wins the foul and looks to get a switch of the play going straight away. And it's a really good one for Hodgson, who's got Brooks racing down this right-hand side, but Radanovic was able to come across and snuff out the danger for the time being. Negic, surrounded by three, did well to get it to Nick McDonald. Switch on that left foot for Mustafa. Perth trying to keep the ball, but ECU pressing really hard up in their faces. And yeah, they do a good enough job to get a foot in and concede a throw. Mustafa, DeLeo, McDonald, and now Colwell. Into midfield for Jovic, who scored that important goal in the NPL finals last year against Heidelberg United. 16 appearances and 2 goals in 2020. Both of them in the first phase. Been a dependable player in that midfield for Ramon Falzone this season. Slightly difficult season compared to what we're used to from the Azzurri, but they're right in the mix for honours in the postseason, as we often expect, as Morgan drives forward, releasing balls. A good one here for the run forward of Silla, and we saw him get forward in the grand final last year against Inglewood, and there he was getting forward again, looking to get on the end of Morgan's pass. Unfortunately, couldn't get the ball on target. Riak. Higgins. Nice touch. Back for Riak. Really clean win there from McDonald. And now Perth have got numbers forward here. They've got 3, in fact. One of them's Cataccioni, who races into the area. Negic is all on his own at the back post, but Cataccioni took a little long to get it to him. Still has it, the Brazilian. Tries to pick out Jovic, and in the end the ECU numbers got back and were able to concede a corner. It was a really presentable opening there for Perth. They had 3 forward there from that pass forward. Mustafa, Cataccioni and Negic all getting into the penalty area, and in the end just a little bit slow in the decision making. All hope not lost though. They still have a corner. Disappointing delivery though. It already had gone behind for a goal kick, and in the end that's the last action of the first half. So really good opening 45 minutes here at Perth Reserve. We had to put up with driving rain through probably the first half of that first half at least anyway, but both teams were on the score sheet. Gustavo Cataccioni, the Brazilian, back in the team after missing glory last week, opened the scoring inside the first quarter of an hour, and then ECU eventually got a grip on the game. Perhaps a little bit hungover from their championship celebrations at the weekend. They pulled back a spectacular equaliser from the left boot of Andy Higgins, who got his second in 2 games. Best chance of either team going in front was an Ethan Brooks volley, which was clawed off the line by Ryan Montgomery. Linesman said it didn't cross the line, and as a result we stay at 1-1. ECU 1, Perth 1 here at Perth Reserve. Don't go away, second half coming up in 10 to 15 minutes time. Testing, testing, testing. Welcome back to the NPL WA semi-finals here at Perth Reserve. One of two games live tonight on the Football West YouTube channel and Facebook pages. Tommy Dolman on the call with you. ECU 1, Perth 1 here. Coburn and Floreat, the other game that is happening. We won't be giving you any spoilers of that one, just so you're aware, but the winner of this game plays the winner of that game. Either way that these four teams configure themselves by the end of the night, it'll make for a pretty good grand final on Saturday, of course. One of 11 being played at Dorrien Gardens over Friday, Saturday and Sunday, including the State League finals as well. All set for a good weekend there, but still plenty to do here for both teams if they do want to appear there at the weekend. ECU Joondalup, who stole the league title off Perth at the weekend. Can they make their way into the top 4 cup and potentially have the opportunity to steal another of Perth's crowns? We're just about to find out as Tom Gogolic blows his whistle and ECU will get us underway. I'm kicking from the right to the left of your stream here in this second half. Conditions have eased, thankfully. A few of the fans here have made their way pitch side to the fence. There is weather still forecasted, though, to possibly arrive a little later, so we won't be counting our chickens just yet as Radanovic pulls wide to Colwell. Now Silla. Up the line from Morgan. Mustafa. He had Silla and Morgan also continuing his run up the line, but Mustafa wasn't able to dig out the pass, and there'll be a turnover and ECU ball. ECU actually unbeaten since 2018 against the Azzurri. 2 draws between the sides in 2019. And they fought back pretty well here after Perth started the game well, got the opening goal. ECU obviously thriving off the confidence from the weekend. Was a meeting earlier in the season between these two teams. That one was at the ECU Joondalup campus, and that was a 2-1 win to ECU that afternoon. Andy Higgins got the opening goal there, and then 2 pretty controversial penalties in the second half, one scored by each team, one of them late from Evans as Hodgson gets down this right-hand side and goes to ground. DeLeo was leaning in. Referee and linesman both said no foul, and we'll have a goal kick. Two wins for Perth, 2 draws, and two wins for ECU, 2 draws, and 3 wins for Perth in the last 7 meetings since 2017. 23 goals in those 7 games, and both teams on the sheet tonight again. Red free kick, says the referee. Set piece taken quickly by Warland. Now Bodner. Switch the play is a good one here from Higgins to Warland. Searching ball for Hodgson. Tried to bring that down. Went to ground and won the free kick there, I think. So this one's in a pretty good spot. We saw Hodgson pull his free kick just wide of the post in the first half. And this one's slightly more suited to the left footer on this occasion, and it's Higgins who does place the ball. As it was in the first half, Hodgson also there showing interest, but it looks as though Higgins will wrap his left foot around this one. Wall marked back. Hodgson leaves it. Higgins strikes and grazes that one just wide of the post. It did take a touch through though, so ECU will stay on the front foot. Really cultured left foot. Andy Higgins, one of the great football cliches. Here he is again, swinging it in. Brooks was alert. Timmins will volley and leant back on that one slightly and didn't catch it as he would desire. We spoke in the first half about goal from Andy Higgins in particular. A night like this, cold, wet, windy, just got to get the ball on target. Possibly a little harsh on Timmins there though, as that was a very tough opportunity to pull down out of the night sky. Great to see football under the lights, really does add that element. A good crowd in as well to celebrate the occasion. Hope you're enjoying it at home, wherever you're watching, around Australia or the world. Tommy Dolman live with you at Perth Reserve. ECU 1, Perth Soccer Club 1, live on the Football West YouTube channel and Facebook page this evening. Winner of this game plays either Floreat or Coburn in Sunday's grand final. One of 11 cup finals across the weekend at Dorrien Gardens as Sella looks up, cut out by Riak. Morgan heads down. Handball there, I think it was, against Riak, who looks a little confused, but decision's been made. It's a Perth free kick. Jovic standing over there. All the big hitters forward from the back. Jovic is teasing ball. Back post for Cataccioni. Arriving late was McDonald, and the ball just skidded off the surface and away from Nick McDonald. And now Perth come back with the ball again. May yet break for Jovic, who took the free kick a moment earlier. It was Negic who was darting into the area momentarily. ECU will now try and shuffle the possession around. Kenny Lowe's side, very much a keep ball team. Former Perth Glory coach as well of 5 years. Also had a short spell as a Socceroos assistant under Graham Arnold, you may remember. In terms of his playing career, it was a very solid one across the lower leagues of English football. A man who's seen a lot when it comes to the round ball game is Kenny Lowe. Done an extraordinary job in his maiden season. I'm not sure even he would have expected that ECU could have won the league title so soon. It just emphasises the achievement that it really was. Evans. Now Brooks will get there first, and sliding in there was Radanovic, and foul will go against the Perth defender. This will give Higgins a chance to go over and whip something dangerous into the middle again. Taken quickly, and I think it was Hodgson who got the shot away, deflected and behind for a corner. No one caught everybody by surprise, including us up here. Ball goes from one side of the pitch to the other quickly. ECU have a corner on this near side now. Another in-swinger. This one from Evans. Low, skidding ball in. It will go through everybody, and in the end that's hoisted up and away by Radanovic. Cataccioni and Riak battle for possession. It will go ECU's way. Timmins inside. Warland still forward from the earlier set piece. ECU tenacious, pressing, winning the ball back again, and then Higgins' pass was cut out by Silla. But ECU are so quick to pounce and these balls, and then sliding in was Colwell, a little crudely and quite late. The ball was long gone off the touch from Evans by the time Colwell slid in, and you've got to be on the money in these conditions when you're sliding in to win the ball. Referee decides that there was no malice in that and keeps the cards in the pocket. No one booked tonight. ECU do have a free kick though. Evans will take this one again. Hodgson was lurking on the 6-yard line. Hooked away by Morgan. Bodner tried to bring under control. Perth were able to pinch though through Negic, and now they can launch the counter-attack. It's Mustafa's ball, a raking one into the path of Cataccioni, who'll get there first ahead of Warland, who had the pace to keep with him. Cataccioni dancing into the area, towing across goal. ECU are scrambling for a minute, heading clear now. Perth recycle the ball. Mustafa's drifted to this right-hand side. Will try and step around Riak. ECU had a good spell. Now Perth are trying to build a period of pressure of their own as McDonald puts the ball forward. Stepping in was Warland. Great defending. Only as far as Jovic, though, who tries a little trick. Got the ball past Warland, but touchline beat him to it. Timmins. Nice ball over the top for Brooks, who's got plenty of pace, but that one just skipped off the slippery surface, and Perth were able to bring under control. Game really in the balance here. Really good game of football, as you'd expect, between two semi-final sides. Crunch time in the NPL WA in season 2020. Evans gets his head to Warland's cross. And that one's gathered easily by Montgomery. Both sets of players are warming up behind Montgomery's goal. Neither team yet to turn to the bench this afternoon, or evening, I should say. Incidentally, it was ECU Joondalup who won the under-20s game, which was against Perth before this. Those two teams meeting in the semi-finals at that level as well. The game was also 1-1 for a fair portion of what I saw when I arrived here. As is this one. Cataccioni's goal cancelled out by Andy Higgins' peach from range. It's Cassidy raking ball forward. Brooks couldn't quite bring it under control. DeLeo slid in, the skipper. Jordan DeLeo, whose sister Tessa is playing for the Perth Soccer Club women tomorrow night in their NPL WA semi-final against Fremantle City at Dorrien Gardens. Obviously looking forward to the women's games tomorrow. Perth and Fremantle, and FC versus Northern Redbacks. Thursday night, both 8 o'clock kickoffs. You can see those also live on the Football West YouTube channel and Facebook pages. As Negic tries to get the better of Bodner. Two players really battling over there, arms and legs flying, and then a little consoling hug between the players. A little acknowledgement of a tough fight that they both showed. Colwell stepped in, won the ball, play. A lot of players around the ball just beneath us here. Now Warland. Nice switch of the play from Riley Warland again. Seen a few of those this evening. Technically, such a good player, Riley Warland. Still so young as well. Made that move to Fulham as a 15-year-old. One of many Aussies who've played for the Cottages over the years. Adam Taggart and Williams brothers. Mark Schwarzer as well, of course. As Jovic threads the pass through for Mustafa. Cross into the middle. No one's really arriving on the scene there except for Cataccioni, who actually did pretty well to get there before the ECU defenders and keep it alive. He's only really got Mustafa to aim for, though, even if he can win the ball. So in the end, a throw-in's a good result. Should clarify, of course, that it was Ryan Williams and not Reece Williams. Was it Fulham, as I must be noted a little earlier. Perth throw-in just beneath us, taken by Alex Silla. Timmins. Ball escapes him. Silla got the foot in and then it landed at the feet of Evans, who was brought down by Morgan. Jackson Morgan, is also a new player at the Azuri this season. Was it Sterling in 2019, like his teammate Mustafa? Missed the last 3 second phase games, but one of those 3 inclusions tonight that we mentioned earlier. Formston, Zimmerino and Domfey out for Negic, Morgan and Cataccioni. The 3 changes. ECU were unchanged, just to refresh your memory. Zimmerino and Domfey are the 2 of the players on the Perth bench tonight, so plenty of firepower in that respect if it's required. Bodner just steps over that one and allows Perkins to grab the ball and get ECU on the front foot quickly. React, time to turn. Looked for the pass to Evans. 2 players who were teammates at Inglewood United last season, of course. Harry Evans, you may remember, scored a spectacular free kick in the semi-final against the Azuri last year. One which got Inglewood straight to the decider. They couldn't beat the Azuri on the showpiece day, though, as Mustafa and Warland are battling for the ball in the corner, and Warland's going to win the free kick there, I suspect. A little bit of a lull in proceedings at the moment. It's pretty good intensity, but neither team really thrusting forward just yet. Still aiming to stay in the game for as long as possible. We will, of course, have 15 minutes, a half of extra time, and penalties should they be required if scores are level at full time. Patient across the back from ECU, who try to work a switch. Now they go forward. Howe looks up for the run of Hodgson, headed by Radinovic. Higgins and Jovic will battle for possession there. In fact, it was Negic who was in there. Clearance did come off the midriff of Negic, and now Warland will clear up as Perth try to get on the counter-attack, and then foul paid against Morgan there as he slid in on Riley Warland. As we said, such a talented player, one that Kenny Lowe knew very well from his time at Glory. Warland, of course, spending 6 years with the club of the A-League before jetting over to London. As Timmins turns, looks to thread a pass through. Dangerous. Timmins still there. Evans is lurking. Gets the ball now. A little scooped. Ball into the area. Colwell had to take no chances and headed away. And Evans will let that one roll for a throw. Looks as though ECU are preparing a sub. Over on the far side. Won't be activated just yet. Evans tries to roll two Perth defenders, and in the end, ball runs out for a goal kick. Might be two ECU changes that are going to be made. Kenny Lowe opting for fresh legs. There's a quick turnaround, of course, after Saturday's grand final. And two players coming off are Harry Evans. It looks like Danny Hodgson is making way as well, so ECU's top scorer is withdrawn. Somewhat surprisingly, given the status of the game, but as we said before, there was a quick backup from Saturday night. Coming on in the place of Evans and Hodgson, Ben Hinshelwood and Bailey Brown Montgomery. Hinshelwood, teenager who's hit double figures in each of the past under 20 seasons. One of the plethora of talented youth players coming through at ECU Joondalup. As is Bailey Brown Montgomery, who's broke through as a youngster back in 2015, 2016. Had trials in England with Aston Villa and West Brom, and then returned to the Perth Glory Academy. Back at ECU. Son of former player of ECU, and obviously someone who's well known in these parts as a former Sorrento player, Stuart Montgomery. As Warland's ball goes for Brown Montgomery, who gets his first touch and peeled for the corner, didn't get it. Player did go into the book, by the way, and that was Jackson Morgan. For what I saw out of the corner of my eye as a count of multiple fouls around the field. Not particularly for that foul in isolation. As reacts under the pump from two Perth players. Cassidy looks back for Perkins. Howe. ECU keeping calm and composed at the back. A lot easier to do now that the conditions have somewhat improved from what they were at the start of the first half. Higgins tried to tickle that one around the corner for Brooks. Didn't quite work, and then Cataccione was in an offside position. Wasn't able to go after that one. ECU, the equal best attack in the league with Joondalup, Croatia. Equal second best defence behind Coburn and level with Floreat. Perth ranked 5 for attack and 5 for defence, incidentally. Well, just the 2 clean sheets for the Azzurri this season, which is very unlike them. And none of them away from home, and that run's obviously continued tonight. Still not out of this one, though. Silla takes the throw. Jovic will fight for possession. Riak stands him up. Jovic tries to jink his way through, and then Jovic was a little too keen to win the ball back. I think that was Callum Timmins there who went to ground. Won the foul, thankfully. He's up on his feet and okay to continue. Howe's ball over the top. Dangerous looking one for Brown Montgomery to chase. Clearance was from Radanovic. Clearance was upfield. The last touch was off an ECU player, though, much to Riak's surprise. Silla will take the throw. Last year's NPL finals hero, of course. This game still needs a hero. Nearly a miscommunication between Howe and Riak there. Perth get the ball back in any case. Colwell up the line. Jovic. Touch just escapes him. Off the surface, and then stepping on the ball there was Bodner. Rather uncharacteristically. Perth just looking to assert their authority here. Their credentials in these types of games do not need introducing. We know what they've done in this competition over the years, not so much in semi-finals in recent years, but WA's most decorated men's club. Brown Montgomery tries to make a nuisance of himself. Colwell did really well, though, to stand tall, and he'll get the ball back now from Radinovic, who was across and helping him out. Header from Riak. Down to the feet of Warland. Strike from Brant Montgomery after Timmins' header. Optimistic one under pressure. Never really testing the gloves of Montgomery. So ECU Joondalup 1, Perth Soccer Club 1. Andy Higgins' goal cancelling out Gustavo Cataccione's goal. Both of them in the first half. Second half not being quite as rapid fire. A lot on the line, of course. Place in this weekend's NPL finals weekend at Dorrien Gardens up for grabs. A real big carrot for Perth in particular, whose home ground that is. Coburn or Floreat will await either of these teams as Mustafa retreats. Colwell. Radanovic. Silla. And now Colwell again. patient from Perth. ECU have done well to force them back though, and that makes Montgomery go long and high, but Perth temporarily got the ball back. Now it breaks to the feet of Timmins. We want that right side. Plays the simple pass to Montgomery, Brown Montgomery, and Silla got the toe in. Last touch was off the fullback. And that will invite Warland forward. So ECU with 3 in the box at the moment. Throw taken quickly in any case. Warland and Timmins link up. Cross is a dangerous one. Montgomery shouts loudest and dominates in the air. Claims with authority. Clearing kick was off the outside of the foot. It actually worked out pretty well for Mustafa in the end, who went to ground, was not awarded the foul, and now Cassidy's pass was a really good one for Brown Montgomery, who's now one-on-one with Colwell. Brown Montgomery, half cross, half shot, was neither in the end, and straight at Montgomery. Perth will now turn to the bench. First time this evening. Looks as though it'll be Sassi Negic, who will depart. Entering the fray will be Jaden Gorman, so your like-for-like replacement over on that far side. Jaden Gorman, very much a jinky little winger. Plenty of pace, plenty of drive. A little bit like Mustafa on this near side. Very direct. 29 goals in 19 games for Glory under 18s and 4 in 7 at senior level. Really announced himself on this division. 4 goals in 13 appearances in his first full season with the Azuri, having joined up with the club during 2019. Another player who missed the game with Glory last week. He's got plenty of time here to make an impact, you suggest. Free kick once again quickly taken by ECU as a feature of their play at the weekend, and very much continued tonight. Hinshelwood had gone a little early. Timmins was tracking back. Danny Hodgson, of course, substituted in case you missed it a little earlier. The NPL WA's Golden Boot winner. Warland tried the switch. Gorman in the way, ricocheted the way of Timmins. Brooks was still out there, having earlier anticipated the Warland switch. Now Higgins. Little inside pass for Howe. Brooks. Howe. Higgins. ECU crisp with their passing. Nice switch now for Warland, who's forward from left back. Jinking inside, still going Warland. Foot was in from Radunovic on the last line of Perth defence. And then the release for Mustafa, was wide of the mark. Has not quite gone into the game as much in this second half, Yagoub Mustafa, as we saw particularly in that first 15 minutes of the first half. Higgins. Warland touch escaped him. ECU, of course, at home tonight, but not actually at home. We normally play at the ECU Joondalup University campus. Unable to host this evening's semi-final, though. The northern neighbours in Sorrento have kindly let them host the event here tonight. Had 7 wins from 8 at home in the season, so it did threaten to be somewhat of a handicap this evening, but as it's turned out, ECU have dealt pretty well with it. They've definitely had their periods in control in this game, as Gorman will look to put pressure on Bodner. Never a realistic proposition. Now the quick release will just escape Brooks, and Perkins a little bit frustrated with his distribution. Cassidy, calm defending under the advancing Cataccione's arrival. Now Howe. ECU having more of the ball. Perth keeping their shape pretty well up until this point. Hinshaw will do well to keep that in play. He couldn't. Three goals this season for Ben Hinshaw, youngster who's had a lot more chances around the first team in season 2020. What a moment it would be for the youngster if you could find a winner for ECU here. We're still finally in the balance though. ECU 1, Perth Soccer Club 1. The 2020 league champions versus the 2019 league and top 4 cup double winners. Both teams winning confidence over the years. Yet to find a team to take control of this one yet. That was Riak, flips around the corner. Warland was forward. May yet still get in here, Warland. He does, and he gets possession now. Brown Montgomery ahead of him. Warland under pressure from a retreating Mustafa, though, who did really well to body his opponent out of the way and win possession back. Now Jovic will chest down. Howe will stand him up and make life difficult for the midfielder. Mustafa, Riak, tracking back. Mustafa tries to wheel around his opponent, though, and Warland was across and supporting his teammate. A little bit scratchy in midfield for both teams. Now McDonald, Gorman. Looks up. Mustafa. Turnover of possession was a little cheap and Warland will come away. Brooks is wide right. The ball will head his way. He's got 2 ahead of him. One of them's Hinshelwood. One of them's is Brown Montgomery. Brooks goes to ground. No foul. And now Perth will counter. Wonderful. Just see this game become a little bit stretched in the final stages. That's a great pass from Jovic. Mustafa's away here. Sliding across was Cassidy, and that's definitely a foul from Shane Cassidy. And the referee pulls out a yellow card. And Perth's players are across and are disputing whether that should have been closer to a red than a yellow. Cassidy certainly seems to be the last man from up here, and I'm not sure any ECU player was covering. Had Mustafa skipped by. Tom Glavovich will now go and just consult with his official here on this near side, just out of your picture. Let's see whether linesman had an impact. Doesn't seem as though his assistant was able to offer him any help, and it seems as though the decision of a yellow card for Shane Cassidy will stand. So 2 players in the book tonight. One of them Shane Cassidy, one of them Jackson Morgan. Yellow card score 1-1, as is the goal score as well. Now, despite the protestations, Perth still have a free kick in a pretty good position here. I reckon if you were spotting one yourself, you'd go pretty close to this area. Can Gorman get this up and down over the wall? It's Gorman striking into the wall, though. Disappointing effort. Winger will try and inch his way past Bodner. In the end, it's Brown Montgomery who does a really good job, and the pass is a cracker to release Hinshelwood, and Ben Hinshelwood will race into the area. Shot at goal, sliding just past the near post. Hinshelwood looked up, he had teammates to his right, and in the end saw Montgomery just move across his goal, and they invited the striker to shoot. Couldn't quite hit the target. Montgomery was scrambling, but I think he did have it covered. React with the flick. Warland will use his goalkeeper. Perkins, cool, calm and collected, won the free kick, and was taken quickly, but a little too quickly for the referees likely. And in fact, I think the reason why that is because Perth are turning to the bench for the second time. We'll just wait and see whether a substitute will be made now or at the next break in play. It'll be made at the next break in play, I suspect. No, it'll be made now, sorry. Apologies to our cameraman who's panning his camera left, right and centre trying to keep up with what I'm saying. It is Gustavo Cataccioni, the goal scorer, who is coming off the pitch though. Tap in from Sasanegic's cross early on. He's putting a big shift, and Michael Domfey will come on in his place. Some fresh legs up top. 15 goals last season, NPL WA 2019 Golden Boot winner. Not a bad play to bring on when you're seeking a winner in the second half. As React's pass is cut out by McDonald. Domfey will try and get involved for the first time this evening. Pass back for Perkins. Calm distribution out from the back, and now Howe's ball will go forward for Hinshelwood. Tall centre forward did really well to bring that one under control. Higgins continued his run. Brown Montgomery was offside there, I think. And continued his run nevertheless, though, and then Montgomery's swing of the boot was very wayward, and in the end, Brown Montgomery will win the corner off Colwell. Definitely looked as though Brown Montgomery was offside in the initial part of the play, but referee and the assistant deemed that he wasn't initially involved in the play. As Higgins' corner comes in, headed away was an important one from Radanovic. Howe, Cassidy turns it back out to Higgins. Numbers still forward for ECU. Clipped in by Higgins. Cassidy leaps. McDonald heads away. It'll come as far as Howe. Warland just slipped at the crucial moment, and away it goes from Radinovic again, who's been an almighty presence at the back tonight. Former Dianella White Eagles defender Boyan Radinovic. 2017 State Cup winner, or State Cup semi-finalist anyway, as Perth look to hit on the counter. Domfey will strike, deflected, and behind for a corner. Radinovic key in that 2017 Cup final run for the White Eagles. They were eliminated by Sorrento in the final four locally. Corner taken short. Gorman. Little clip in. Deep onto the back post. Still rising. Also up. There was Domfey at the back post, and the centre forward almost didn't expect it to come all the way through to him and just lost his touch at the crucial moment. Difficult chance to see inside that crowded area of players. Now Brown Montgomery's come a little bit deeper to get involved with the play, and then big, hefty sliding challenge on DeLeo. And it seems as though Brown Montgomery's come out of the challenge the worst of the two. ECU's bench was certainly up in arms over the challenge. Must have been a little bit difficult for us to see from the angle we were at. Play will resume with a throw-in. Both players judged to have gone in for the challenge honestly as the rain returns. Windy Hill. React tries to drive forward. A few of the umbrellas coming out just beneath us. Morgan's raking ball forward. Perkins is off his line. He had to get a boot, so he did. It wasn't the most convincing clearance, but it'll do. Now Timmins. Mustafa giving him plenty of attention. Retreating back for Bodnar. Pass from Cassidy. Disappointing one. Straight into the feet of Silla. And now Perth will look to counter. They've got numbers forward here. Mustafa is out wide. Domfey and Gorman are in the middle. The cross was from Mustafa. It was in front of McDonald, though, who was arriving late on the scene, and that's a disappointing result for the Azzurri, who had numbers forward there after Cassidy's missed pass. Cassidy, Mustafa was arriving, defended it just enough. Warland will keep in play. Time ticking down here. Extra time and possibly even penalties is looking likely at this stage unless there's some late drama. Morgan carves out a pass. DeLeo gets forward, sliding in. Last touch there was off Bodnar. Rain driving down once more. Game on a knife edge. ECU 1, Perth 1. Live on the Football West YouTube channel and Facebook pages this evening as Morgan clips into the area. Cassidy away. McDonald into the challenge. Straight up in the air and into the gloves of Perkins. Ball up the line. Hinshelwood. All on his own up front. Didn't have any support with him, and in the end did well to win his team a throw, the youngster. Timmins links up with Higgins. Timmins still going into the area, bodied out by Colwell, and Colwell definitely won the strength battle, and was a crucial intervention because that was the final play of 90 minutes extra time. Here we come as the wind and rain returns at Percy Doyle Reserve. A wild night and a really good game of football to boot as well. Gustavo Cataccioni opened the scoring. Andy Higgins levelled both of those goals in the first half. Chances did dry up a little more in that second period. Game really was on a knife edge for long periods. Possibly the closest either team has come was when Ethan Brooks volleyed at the back post, and Montgomery clawed off the line. Ball didn't cross the line, and score stayed at 1-1. And that's how we enter extra time. We'll take a break for a couple of minutes here while the players get a drink, and we do too. And we'll be back to bring you 15 minutes each way. ECU 1, Perth 1. Welcome back to Perth Reserve. Extra time is upon us. Players had a little quick catch up with the coaches, a quick refreshment as well. And we're back here in the wintry conditions. Somewhat unusual for October. And it looks as though we'll be starting first period of extra time as we ended the second half with ECU kicking from the right to the left of your stream, wearing red, remember, Perth, sky blue. If you are joining us late, placing the grand final at stake against Coburn or Floreat. 15 minutes each way, possibly penalties if no winners found in the next half hour. Sense that this game's going down to the wire. It's been a close one all night. Both of these teams pretty evenly matched over the course of the 90 minutes. Second half, a real grinding effort from both sets of players. Both teams played on Saturday, of course. Short turnaround. Whose legs will go first? No changes from either team at the start of extra time as Radinovic slides in on Brown Montgomery. ECU have a throw. Taken by Ethan Brooks. A little earlier on, but last time ECU Joondalup final series, they were 1-1 at full time against Inglewood United and went on to lose 6-5 on penalties back in 2016. And be hoping that it's a different result tonight. As we touched on before, Perth have lost their last two semi-finals, although they have gone on to win the subsequent finals. It'll be interesting to see how those form lines hold up as the second part of this game unfolds. ECU 1, Perth 1 at full time. Extra time here in case you join us late. Gustavo Cataccione's opening goal. Andy Higgins is leveller. Cassidy, Warland tries to help the ball up forward to Henshelwood. Timmins was sniffing around and he is upfield and skipping away to Perkins. Here's Timmins. Wide for Brooks, sliding in DeLeo. DeLeo will have to get back to his feet quickly. He did, but not quite quick enough as Brooks wins the throw. Two Perth players running into each other there. Gorman and Domfey, the two substitutes. Gorman slides in. ECU ball still, though. Cassidy's ball forward. Brooks tries to bring down. Two in the middle at the moment. Brown, Montgomery and Hinshelwood. Brooks will want that right-hand side. Ball still in play over there. Brooks does well initially to get past, and then DeLeo fights back, and then the foul was conceded by the ECU man. Second spell at the club for Ethan Brooks, of course, having spent time with the Glories NPL set up in between. And just the one goal in 2020, but as we've seen, he's been one of the creative aspects of the Northerners team. Started 4 of the 5 games in the second phase of the competition as well. So it was a key part. As phase 2 hit crunch time. Rain disappears once again, for the time being anyway, as Howe looks up. Hinshelwood pass was looking for Howe. Turned over to Perth instead. Silla up the line. Jovic tried to help it on for Mustafa, but very hard to time those delicate layoffs. Brooks looks up, charge down, McDonald. Both teams turn to the bench twice tonight. You still have a couple of youngsters. Luke Rhodes and Luke Davis up their sleeves. Perth still have Paul Zimmerino and Tom Southgate if required. Southgate that's actually warming up over there on that far side. It's their third yellow card of the evening. This one was for Gorman, I think. Kovacic has a look at his watch. Can't be far away from the end of the first half of extra time. Might still be another chance for the Azzurri here, though. As DeLeo looks forward. Domfe does well. Domfe volleys! Oh, we've seen this movie before! Michael Domfe, last year's Golden Boot winner, is on the scene again! It's a stage which they often shine on, and they lead 2-1 here at Perth Reserve. ECU 1, Perth 2. Stunning volley from Michael Domfe. It was the last action of the first half of extra time. Blasting an effort past Johnny Perkins. The goalkeeper had no chance. A piece of individual brilliance on a wet and windy night here at Perth Reserve. ECU 1, Perth Soccer Club 2. Don't leave your streams just yet. This is going to be a beauty of a final 15 minutes here in the NPL WA semi-finals. A place in the grand final with Florida or Coburn is at stake. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back again to Perth Reserve. Very quick turnaround. Players hardly came up for air. A stunning moment from substitute Michael Domfe. He came off the bench and thrashed a superb volley beyond Ryan Montgomery, and then went and celebrated with the Perth supporters over in that corner. And now Domfe's racing away again. Pull back here for Zimmerino, who's entered the field for the final 15 minutes. My understanding is that it was Alex Jovic who departed at the 105-minute mark. So Zimmerino's fresh legs will be key in the final 15 minutes or so. And now Perth will look to strike on the counter-attack. Mustafa driving into the area. And that's a great save from Perkins. He came out, made himself as big as possible, and Mustafa's shot went into the side netting. There was bated breath around the ground. Corner for Perth. Of course, as these minutes roll on, they're going to be in less of a rush to take these set pieces. Still plenty of work to do, though. Far from over. Zimmerino's corner, aimed at DeLeo. ECU win the header. Silla will get to the 50-50 first. McDonald's ball came in, and Gorman had stayed on side over there, but a little clumsy in the way that he brought that down. And that will allow ECU to pick up and counter-attack. Trying to keep their season alive for another weekend. But now it's going to be hard as Perth try and break forward on the counter, and Domfe's offside as he races away from Mustafa's pass. ECU have got to be careful. That's been twice in the past couple of minutes that Perth have raced away I don't want to be out of this game too early. Do the league winners. As it stands, Perth will be making their way towards a fourth NPL finals match in 5 years. They've won the last two, remember. And they are hosting it at the weekend as well, remember. One of 11 cup finals, including the 18s, the 20s. And don't forget the women's as well. Great season there. Semi-finals of that competition tomorrow night. Mum FC Redbacks, Perth Soccer Club and Fremantle City as well. Thursday night, both 8 o'clock kickoffs. Still a little bit of admin to take care of here, though, as McDonald clears up the line. It's going to be a little bit like that now for Perth, you'd suspect, in the final 10 or so minutes. As ECU press up, desperate to find an equaliser. The league champions, can they show that fighting spirit again? And possibly force penalties. Brooks does really well. Timmins tries to get between two defenders. Still going Callum Timmins. No foul on the Perth defender. And now Perth will counter once more. Gorman's pass. It was an optimistic attempt to try and find Mustafa. And in the end, it was cut out by Cassidy. Howe. Touch just got away from him. Ball spinning just in front of that halfway line. Bodner and Gorman, two former Glory teammates there, battling for the ball. Look how much it means even in this second period of extra time. Both players fighting till the end. As the rain returns once more. Looks as though we're going to finish this game how we started it, in wet and windy conditions here at Percydoor Reserve. Will there be a late twist in the tail? Morgan cuts out the pass. Mustafa wider than his teammate. Into the feet of Domfe, the likely hero at this stage. Pass from Mustafa looking for Zimmerino. Cut out, and then Cassidy will leave the ball for Perkins, who's keen to get it moving. Time is of the essence. There's Higgins, whose equaliser seems like such a long time ago now. Both of those first half goals do. Caccione's and the left-footed Englishman's. Gorman. Howe and DeLeo fighting for the ball. It ends up falling the way of Perth. Mustafa. Ball stayed in play for the time being. Was one back there, sorry, by Brown Montgomery, who then got himself up the field. McDonald, colliding tackle. Gorman was wide open there. Domfe's pass was a little short. Didn't matter. Zimmerino will turn it over. Paul Zimmerino racing into the area. Still going. Zimmerino striking. And Perkins keeps ECU alive with another excellent block. His second in this period of extra time. Great save from the ECU skipper, doing everything he can. Zimmerino had two players, one to his left, one to his right. Didn't want to release it, went himself. Got the shot on target, but goalkeeper was up to it. Corner's not a bad result for Perth, though. They'll play it short. Gorman, cross into the area, low. Cleared away. Morgan will drive. A fizzer from Jackson Morgan. Back into the starting lineup this midweek. And Perth are surely going to the final now. ECU 1, Perth 3. ECU Joondalup 1, Perth Soccer Club 3. Long way back for the league winners now. Perth take a step closer towards yet another end of season appearance. I don't often like using the phrase the big dance, as it's a little cliche, but some of the dance moves in the celebration of Jackson Morgan certainly suit that kind of phrase. A big night here for the Azzurri, who have kind of fumbled their way through this season. It's been a difficult one, of course, with the coronavirus, with the halting of the campaign. But this is just what they do. They love this stage. They love getting to this point of the season. And they're looking good to take their place in a home grand final on Sunday, as that's clipped in by Domfe, and arriving was Gorman, but Perkins was claiming with authority. Nothing the ECU goalkeeper could do about either of those two. Extra time strikes from Michael Domfe or Jackson Morgan. Still not done just yet, though, as Timmins comes forward. He's crowded out by 3 Perth players, though. Perth with 6 players behind the halfway line. Ramon Falzone urging his team to keep their shape now. Stay disciplined. And hold firm for a little bit longer. Little hush around the ground now. Supporters here perhaps just sensing that the game is up now. ECU Joondalup 1, Perth Soccer Club 3. Been a great match here tonight on the Football West YouTube channel and Facebook pages. Looking though as Perth will take on the winner of Coburn and Floreat in Sunday's showpiece at Dorrien Gardens. ECU may still have something to say about that, though. In the dying stages, they are league champions for a reason this season. Brooks goes in aggressively, tries to win the ball from Rivdinovic. Fells the Perth defender. Still time here for ECU if they can grab a quick one. Looks as though Perth are going to keep countering with pace, though. As Silla walks in to the challenge. It breaks their way. Gorman, little tickle forward for Silla, who continued his run. Mustafa's arriving and striking. I think it hit his own man. It did. Silla was in an offside position as the shot was put in from Yagub Mustafa. This is the sort of time when Yagub really shines. Counter-attacking game of football, where the game gets a little bit stretched. The space is there for the winger to run into. Bodnar. Howe. Brooks has got plenty of space here on this right touchline. Comes inside. Ahead of him is Hinshelwood, who tries to pull that one back. Montgomery shouts loud and dives on it under no real pressure. Little round of applause from The travelling Perth fans who are occupying that corner. Zimmerino lifts forward. Domfe. Reverse pass is a nice one for Zimmerino. Mustafa's at the back post, and the pass was a little ahead of the winger. Still alive here for Perth, though. Finds Zimmerino again, who leaves it for his teammate, and in the end, a pair of them get their wires crossed. And ECU will try and counter. Two goals in under 5 minutes. Almost an impossible task, but with 2020 being the year it's been, you just wouldn't quite rule anything out. Bodner's ball forward. Colwell clears away. Domfe, all on his own for the moment, will have to retreat back for Silla, and does now. Touch was a little heavy. It allowed ECU to possibly press. They did. Perth play out of the press really well, but the pass from Morgan was a little wayward. Now Cassidy looks up. Finds Bodner. Riak. And now Warland. Brooks. Little pass inside looking for Brown Montgomery. Wide of his teammate though, and Montgomery will just take a couple more seconds off the clock. A few people in the crowd just starting to dissipate now. Late night here in the West, it's gone the distance. Timmins looks up. Gorman intercepts. Howe bounces off the boots of Hinshelwood. Now here's Mustafa in space out wide again. Tries to get the better of Cassidy. Good defending though from the experienced centre half. Higgins looks up. It's all or nothing time now for ECU, that's for sure. But Silla pinches off the pocket there the ECU winger, and now Perth will come forward and possibly look for a fourth and sealing goal, but Riak does really well. Releasing pass for Hinshelwood. He's all on his own here though. He's got to turn back and look for support. Gets it now in the form of Higgins. Left-footed. Looks up. Timmins. Man a little further out wide is Warland. Comes back inside for Timmins. Got to go forward now for ECU, suspect. Higgins looks up. Warland. ECU still playing their football, still being patient. It's the way they've done it all season. Doesn't work on that occasion, although they will get possession back through Riak, who looks up. Pass was a little short for Brown Montgomery, and McDonald was sliding in and clearing high, hoisting away. Riak. Howe. Layoff from Higgins. Warland. Back for Howe. Touch was a little heavy, worked out okay. Timmins. Higgins. Looked for the return of Timmins. Just been that sort of night in the final third for ECU, though. Those passes, they have been so adept at playing throughout the season, just haven't stuck. Probably in part due to the conditions, which have been a little difficult. That'll do it. Perth will go into a third grand final in a row, having won the 2018 and 2019 editions of the competition. The 2019 league winners have defeated the 2020 league winners here at Perth Reserve by 3-1. Gustavo Cataccioni and Andy Higgins both scored in the first half, the game was really on a knife edge. Ethan Brooks had the best chance in regular time when he volleyed at Montgomery, who then had to retreat and claw back off the line. Into extra time we went. It was certainly that sort of night. Wet, windy, was always going to go the distance. And in the end, Perth found the punch that they required. In the extra time minutes, Michael Domfey with a blasting volley that found its way past Perkins in the ECU net. The goalkeeper stood no chance there, and he stood no chance either in the second half of extra time when Jackson Morgan rifled in an effort from the edge of the area, low, hard, into the corner. Celebrated with a little dance just down beneath us here. And that was basically all she wrote. Perth go into another decider. That's just what they do at this time of the year in the postseason. And they will play the winner of Coburn and Floriat on Sunday evening. But for now, from Percy Doyle Reserve, my name's been Tommy Dolman. Great to have your company this evening. We've had a cracker. It's ECU 1, Perth Soccer Club 3, and good night.